Hello, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb from DG Reads, and it is time for me to make what is probably a very bad decision and kick off a weekend reading challenge. August is a month where I'm not participating in any readathons, or I wasn't. I've actually joined one now. But it's a very chill, non-competitive, read at your own pace, encourage you to read arcs, reading challenge from Vanessa at Reading with Dr. B. So I got it in my head that the first weekend of August would be a great time to do a reading challenge because I had no plans. Note the past tense there. I was meant to have a peaceful, stay at home, just read type of weekend. But things have, had a few complications. My kitchen sink is not draining properly, so I have a plumber coming in the morning. Turns out I have 2 watch-alongs happening this weekend, and potentially I'm supposed to swing by and visit my dad tomorrow. That's a little bit up in the air. So I'm a little bit nervous about how a weekend challenge is gonna go. It's not as bad as the weekend when I did the reading challenge when I was getting furniture delivered. That was a really chaotic weekend. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know, obviously. If you're not familiar with my weekend challenges, I have this little jar here. It's got some different challenge prompts in here. Some of them specify maybe that I only read books from a particular book box, or I read books only in a certain format, or I pick books using some sort of random generator. I don't know what this is going to be, so your guess is as good as mine of how bad of an idea this is going to wind up being. So let's go ahead. It is Friday night now. It is 7:45. I have about 10 minutes left in my current book, so it's actually a good time to pick up something new. So let's go ahead and see what the challenge is going to be and see if I just scrap this all together. Kylie's making a lot of noise in the background. She's just had her dinner. She's kind of in her high anxiety post-dinner, needs to run off some energy, and annoyed that I am sitting here filming and ignoring her. So if you hear that in the background, she's perfectly fine. She'll get lots of attention in a little bit once I start reading. Okay, this is the one we are pulling. Okay, actually, this is nice. This is a good one, and it's one I really do need to be doing more of. Here we go. Libro Unread. So I have a lot of books on my Libro FM shelf, and I received these as gifted copies from the publishers and Libro FM. I also have a few that are from Simon & Schuster. They do their influencer program through Libro FM. So I have a bunch of books on there that I need to get to that I did say I wanted to read, and I do want to read. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to start with, and let's see how it goes. Okay, I went through my list and it just reminded me how many books I'm actually really excited to get to on my Libro FM shelf. So that's a good thing. I decided I'm going to help myself out with my first book, and that is because one that I received gifted from Simon Audio comes out on August 5th, which is before you're going to see this, but in real time, that's just in a couple days. So the book in question is The Deathless One by Emma Hamm, and this is a romantasy. I don't know too much about it. I've read what it says on the back, I feel like, in a couple of videos now, probably my book haul and my most recent TBR, because this is in fact on my August TBR. It's also perfect for the ARC August readathon that I am participating in from Vanessa, as I mentioned. So this hits many levels. I have the audiobook on Libro FM, and I'm really just in a sit and crochet kind of mood. So having an audiobook prompt for the weekend is really going to be good for me, I think. I may have just ordered 2 new crochet kits today. Let's not talk about that. So I am going to pick this up. I'm going to read it again. It says, "Magic always has a price. I want to see you burn your kingdom down. Slow burn, forced proximity, badass princess wielding black magic, demon shadow daddy with a tortured past, deal with the devil." So that's all I know about it going into it. It is kind of small print, so I'm glad that I do have the audiobook for this one so I can crochet with it. See how long of an audiobook it is. It is almost 12 hours on audio, so this will take me quite a bit, but hopefully I can make a good dent in it tonight before I get really tired. I do have to be up in the morning and presentable to have a plumber in the house, so I hopefully will have some good reading time in the morning as well. I do need to film one video this weekend and clean up my life once I have a functioning kitchen again, but we're gonna make some progress on this and see how it goes. Happy Saturday morning. It is a little after 8 a.m. I have probably about an hour at least until the plumbers come. I might have 5 hours till the plumbers come. It's one of those 4-hour window type situations. So I got up, I got Kylie up, took my shower, and we're ready to go downstairs, get some coffee, snuggle in, wait for the call that they're on their way. But I'm probably, unfortunately, need to do a little bit of tidying up too. So I will pop in some earbuds, listen to my audiobook a bit more. But before I go do that, I did want to provide an update because I have now passed the halfway point in the Deathless One by Emma Hamm. I don't think I mentioned it, but the hard copy I received is from Gallery Books. The audio I received from Simon Audio through Libro FM. This one has me with a few mixed feelings. The opening really dumps you into this world without any hand-holding. We are following our main character, Jessamine, and she is a princess. She and her mother are preparing basically for her arranged marriage. It's not a marriage of love. It's a marriage of helping the kingdom to survive, basically. And Jessamine is fully on board. She understands this is what her kingdom needs from her. Her mother even gives her an out and she says, no, let's go ahead and let's do this. She marries this guy and then they let a zombie horde in. They let some sort of infected horde of people in who are very dangerous. They are very contagious. And I don't know exactly what's going on with them because, again, we're not getting a lot of hand-holding or explanation, I would say. Then the person she just married kills her. And this is all like chapter 1. So this is not spoilery. The tagline on the front I saw on the main cover, not on this one, but on the main cover it says something like, death is only the beginning. So again, they're marketing this as kind of she dies. And then she is brought back by the Deathless One, who is a god. He is one of the gods of this universe, this world, and all the gods are believed to be dead. He is and he isn't. He's kind of beyond the veil, for lack of a better term, and he believes that she is this witch that's been prophesied in relation to him to bring him back. So he brings her back. And she is all about the revenge. She's very fierce in this opening. She has to agree to go back. She has to agree to his conditions for sending her back. And she does because she wants revenge. She wants her kingdom back. She wants to take this guy down who killed her, who left her with a scar around her neck. All of this was really breakneck speed in the very beginning and a little too fast. I think I wanted a little bit more of getting to know our character before this happened, getting to know the kingdom, the world, this plague that's going on. I wanted a little more foundation building, but I was very intrigued. The idea of our heroine dying chapter 1 was an interesting twist since I had not read anything about the synopsis. Where I think I'm losing it a little bit is as we're getting towards the middle, it has slowed down a lot. And her character, for someone who is so obsessed with revenge at the very beginning, is not the badass princess wielding black magic like the back of the book promised. She's very in need of help. She's brought back. She's kind of stumbling around. She doesn't know really anything about her kingdom, we're finding out. She's been their princess. She's been their champion, kind of, but she doesn't really know what the day-to-day life of her people have looked like. And I'm wanting her to step up more. She doesn't know magic, really. Magic is kind of forbidden in this world. Witches are killed in this world. So she hasn't really identified as a witch. She's been interested. She's been looking into witchcraft a little bit in terms of how to deal with this plague. So there is kind of an inclination there, I think. And I'm assuming as the book goes on, we're going to start to see that grow in her. The Deathless One is certainly encouraging that in her because he wants her to be able to bring him back. And she needs power, or to use power to do this anyway. So I'm reserving judgment at this point. It's a really interesting setup. I think the world has a lot of potential. There's just not quite enough world building for me yet. I think the romance is fine. It's not super much calling to me, but that doesn't shock me. So yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment till the end, see how it goes. I think it's been an easy one to listen to. I was working on crochet with it last night, which nicely kind of matched the green cover. I was listening to a bit in bed, and I'm going to go down, get my coffee, continue listening, continue crocheting probably, and see how it goes for the rest of the book. It is just past 10 o'clock and I have finished my first book. The plumbers came and went. I now have a functioning kitchen sink for a while at least. And I did finish The Deathless One. And overall, I liked it. I don't know that I really was fully hooked into it at any given time. I think our main character, Jessamine, she came into her own as we got further into the book, but I really wanted her to have a little bit more of a badass princess moment all on her own, kind of separate from this god she's falling for. I I wanted a little more banter and those types of elements to the relationship as well. For me, that just didn't quite hit in here. But I think the idea of this whole death and regeneration and what that means and the way this world is working and her desire to help her people to figure out what's going on with this plague, I wanted more world building to it, but the concepts were interesting. So I think in the end, this one's like a 3.5. I still had a good time listening to it. It's just not one that I'm necessarily jumping to get to the sequel for. I feel like this one wrapped up pretty well. There's definitely elements to keep exploring in here, and I can see obviously where the sequel is going to go. It did do that introduction well at the end. I think the beginning and end of this book went quickly and almost a little too quickly, where the middle with her learning her powers and all of that went a little too slow for me. So I think the pacing was one of the elements that just didn't quite hook me in. So like I said, 3.5, not mad I read it. Glad to have ticked one off on my TBR for the month. And with that, I've got Kylee next to me. She's kind of pouting at the moment because I think she's figured out I'm planning to leave the house. I figured while I am doing a reading challenge that allows me all the freedoms that an audiobook gives me of going out and about, I might as well run a couple errands. I'm going to take some books to the used bookstore. I'm going to stop at the bagel shop near my parents' house that I really enjoy, and then go by and see my dad. And since the plumbers came so nice and early, I have time to do that before the watch along I'm participating in this afternoon. So that is the plan currently. And in terms of what I'm going to read next, I figured I might as well go with another one that is on my August TBR, and it's actually another one from Gallery. It's another one from Simon Audio, and that is The Unseen by Anaya Elborn. This is an author I've read from before and really enjoyed, so I have high hopes for this one. I am hoping for something spooky. I believe there's kind of some motherhood and motherhood grief going on in here, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, the mother, Isla, is dealing with a devastating loss. She finds an orphan on the property, but her husband and the other children start to notice there's something creepy going on, I think. So motherhood stories don't always work for me, but I am hopeful for this one. And grief horror seems to be kind of having its moment in my life lately. So we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know how it's going once I get back home. I'll be listening to this in the car as I'm going out and about, and we'll see how it goes. This isn't an ideal angle, but I have a puppy in my lap, so we are making do. And oh goodness, puppy, don't fall off my lap. That would not be ideal either. No, it wouldn't. But anyway, I am now home. It is many hours later. It's 7 o'clock at night. And I went out, I took some books into the used bookstore, went to my dad's house, did some shopping in his backyard. He has fresh tomatoes and some peaches that I picked up from him. Kylee has been loving the tomatoes, so we're gonna have some tacos in a little bit with some of those tomatoes. And while I was out and about today, I did make it halfway into The Unseen. Oh, glaring at you. Or the book is glaring at you, rather. And this one I'm enjoying so far. I wouldn't say I'm fully hooked. And that could just be I'm really tired today, or it could be just the book. I don't know for sure. What do you think? You missed the beginning, so it's hard to say. Anyway, we are following Isla, and she is dealing with a lot. She had a miscarriage. She has really always wanted more children, even though she has 5 children. She has lost several pregnancies, and she's been dealing with her mental health as a result of that, also as a result of some trauma as a child, and just in general. So she's sitting out in a field one day when this boy just kind of walks up to the property, and he doesn't say anything. He's strange looking. His body's not quite formed right. There's some suspicion that maybe he was like kept in a cage, and that's why he is shaped the way he is. But she feels for him. She feels as though he's there for a reason. She's thinking he's a replacement child kind of for the baby she lost, maybe, or something. Her children are struggling with her because she's just so disconnected from everything. Even as she wants more children, she's really losing kind of track of the children she already has. And they're not really thrilled when Isla and her husband decide to bring this boy that they're going to call Rowan into the home. They can't find his family. They don't know where he's come from. So he's basically being fostered by them. The kids aren't thrilled, but they know it's what she wants and decide to go with it for the most part. Some a little more reluctantly than others. We start the book really getting her POV, Isla's POV, and then as we go, we get the husband's, and then we're also getting the children's POVs. The audiobook for this one does have several several different narrators, which is helping with kind of keeping track of who is who, which I do really appreciate. As I said, this boy's nonverbal. He doesn't communicate at all, like even pointing or grunting or anything. So they really don't know anything about him. They don't know where he came from. Where this family lives is really far away from anyone else. And that's like a big mystery, what his origin story is. The things that he gets up to are kind of creepy. He's staring at people. He's kind of almost feeling like he's putting out this vibe that's harmful to other people. Isla is not picking up on this, but the father and the children definitely are. The dogs absolutely hate him and try to attack him. And if Kylie's not going to like someone, I would kind of question that, as opposed to blaming her maybe. But Isla's solution is to just get rid of the dogs, send them off to family and get them out of the picture, which I kind of get, but also I feel bad for the dogs. There's also kind of these sightings of something on the periphery that people are seeing, and there's some question about that. And there's also a huge string of missing children happening. There's little breakout things. I'm not sure how it is in the text because I've been crocheting and not looking at it, but every once in a while we get a news report or the characters talk about an Amber Alert happening. Yeah, we're getting these kind of breakout things, articles about missing children, about ones going missing from their homes, from the park, and it seems excessive. There's Amber Alerts constantly, daily going off on people's phones, and that seems to be, I'm assuming, something that's going to tie into what's happening in this family with this boy. So I am really, really intrigued to see where it's going, what the kind of ultimate thing is going to be. I did mention I was a little worried that it would be too kind of motherhood, pregnancy, baby focused, and it's really not. It is, but it's not in a way that I'm not liking it because of that. I don't know if that's making sense. My brain's tired, but that's okay. I'm going to go make some dinner while I continue listening to this. Lexie at Books with Lexie actually has a 24-hour readathon starting, and I'm going to go ahead and do it in her time zone, which means it's starting in about an hour and a half for me, and it's just a page count one, so I don't need to finish this before that starts. I'm at the 45% mark currently, so I don't think I will probably finish before that starts, but it's good motivation to keep reading tonight. So I'm going to get dinner and then continue on with my crochet and petting the puppy. Obviously, she is in the mood for that, and I'll check in with you later. You see it? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Say hi to the peoples. Hi, peoples. Hi, peoples. Okay, it is now Sunday morning. Mistakes were made last night. I was getting really tired. I decided to lay in bed and listen to the rest of my audiobook and promptly fell asleep at some point. So I was up early this morning and finished the last half hour or so again because I figured out where I stopped remembering what had happened. The end of this one definitely gets wild, so it was really easy to kind of figure out which things the characters had uncovered as I skipped through the last few chapters and figure out where I stopped remembering what had happened. Overall, I did enjoy this one. I think it felt a little bit longer than it needed to be. There was some repetition with all the different POVs. We get the different kids' POVs and the parents' POV, and it did feel a little bit repetitive in some instances. Like one of the kids was talking about how they couldn't run to the parents' room for help because they would have to go down this dark hallway and past this particular door for reasons that was scary. And then another kid later in the book has the same whole internal thought process, and we go through it again. We get definitely a lot of disbelief of what is happening from various people, and as we hear about it from different POVs, we get the disbelief in those POVs as well. This really didn't pull a lot of punches, so absolutely trigger warnings beyond the infertility and pregnancy issues and miscarriage. There's definitely violence against children, there's missing children, there's animal issues, things like that are coming up throughout the book. They definitely forward the plot. They're not just there to be gratuitous, but a heads up on that. It definitely went a way I didn't expect. Yes, it's a motherhood related horror, but it goes a very different direction, so it did feel like something new, something that anyone could relate to regardless of your kind of inclinations towards pregnancy and motherhood related horror. So I think from that standpoint, I really enjoyed it. My brain is having a hard time settling on how I'm rating this one. I feel like a 3.5 to a 4 is where I'm landing currently. It could shift as I percolate on it a little bit more, but I think that's where I'm at now. And overall, I'm glad I picked it up. It's definitely one that feels different to me, and it had some creepy moments. I'm not going to promise that it'll absolutely scare you. I'm a really bad judge of that in books just because I grew up reading way too much horror to actually be scared by books anymore. But overall, I think this was a good one and definitely one worth picking up. So with that, I spent some time scrolling my Libro FM to see what else I wanted to pick up, And lo and behold, I had an audiobook that I didn't remember that I had on there. That will help me out again. I feel like this is just kind of a cheater weekend challenge to get to some of the books on my TBR, but I need that because I have not been reading at the rate I normally do since I got back from vacation, so that's okay. But also, this is one I'm really excited to pick up, and that's Starving Saints by Caitlin Sterling. I'm a little bit nervous about it because it is historical, and that hasn't been my number one thing lately, but it's just such a weird cover. There's cult stuff going on, as I remember. It's an author that I've absolutely loved before and not so much enjoyed before. So it's a big question mark how this is going to go, but I do have the audiobook on Libro, gifted from Harper Audio, so it's one I'm excited to get to. This is actually the special edition from Aardvark that they did. Woo, if I don't drop it. That was really smooth of me, but it's got the honeycomb naked hardcover under there, which I think is really pretty. So I had to pick up a hardcover copy, even though I did have the audiobook and then promptly forgot I had the audiobook. So I'm excited to have the audiobook and excited to get reading with this. I've just made my coffee. If you hear noise in the background, Kylie's eating her breakfast, but then she will probably come and join me for my coffee and audiobooking. And I am kind of moving towards final steps on my crochet project, the swimsuit cover up I've been working on. I think I had a little bit of B-roll of that for you at one point because it matched my Emma Ham book so well, but I will be working on that once I drink my coffee, and we'll see if maybe we can work on finishing it this weekend. We'll see. Today, the idea is to read a lot. I'm hoping to finish this book and then maybe one more. I did commit to reading around 550 pages for Lexie's 24-hour reading challenge, and I've only read 115 so far, so I have my work cut out for me. So I best get to it. Before I say anything book related, I really need to try to get a picture of Kylie, but she's about to move. She's being very cute hanging out on the back of the sofa. I've been working on stitching my cover up together. The panels are done. The pieces are now starting to come together, and I have hope it's going to work. So we'll see. I think I made it a little too big, but also it's cotton, so maybe it'll shrink a little. And also cover up, you kind of want a little oversized. You don't want it fitting, especially if you've had too much sun. And I am going to hopefully have enough materials to make a belt for it, so that'll help as well. So we'll see. Keep working on that. But in the meantime, I did make it halfway into Starving Saints, and I'm liking it, with some reserving judgment. It is definitely feeling very historical, and that made it a little slower maybe to engage for me given my current kind of anti-historical feelings. But I think the weirdness and the questions that are coming up in it are keeping me interested, and the relationships going on in here also. So what this is we are in a castle or a place that's under siege. The king is there, the religious people are there, the nuns are there, and they're kind of locked in this safe space, but they're running out of food. The water started turning bad, and then this one woman who's kind of a former nun, I think, heretic, they're calling her, came up with a way to kind of magically fix the water and make it good and purify it. And they're therefore counting on her to try to find a way to magically create food now too, but it's not working. We've got a knight, one of the king's kind of loyal people, who's been tasked with overseeing her and her efforts to make food, but ultimately she doesn't trust this heretic woman and is questioning everything. Then we have this servant girl, I think that's what she is, in the castle as well, who has a history with our knight, and they had a relationship once upon a time, and she was betrayed by this knight. And these three women are our three kind of point of views as we go through the story. Then they are on the brink of starting to eat human flesh. That is what they figure they need to do next to survive. There's a little bit of honey. The bees are being kept by the nuns, and that's a little bit of nourishment, but there's like religious implications there. They have water now, but at this point, rat is a delicacy that is being passed through the underground sales, and that's where they are in this. The final decision is about to be made. They have a dead man. They're preparing to eat, and then suddenly these four figures show up who appear to be like the icons of their religion and appear to be able to miraculously provide food, but they're doing something to the people that basically brings them under their sway. They are a little bit off, and our knight falls for them. Our other women don't necessarily, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, save everyone, or at least escape for themselves. And It's very interesting. It's very dark. It's definitely, I would say, not shaping up to be a new favorite, but it definitely has me wanting to read more. It's a really easy listen to just kind of keep binging as I'm sewing up crochet pieces, and I'm eager to get back to it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to see if I can get a picture of Kylie because she's being cute, and we'll go from there. When I bought the couch, we thought there's no way Kylie's going to figure out a way to sleep on the back of the couch anymore, but she's done it. She's made the cushions her own. I finished multiple things actually, but I'm most excited because I finished my Coverup. It is done. It is soft. It is nice. I'm excited that it turned out relatively well, I think. I think size-wise, I went a little bit bigger than I needed to, but actually it's not too bad. I think it works well. I did a cord, little belt type thing. This was my first time kind of working and making this type of cord, which took me a little bit. It's not perfect. Let's not look at it too closely, but it actually worked up pretty quickly compared to what I expected, so that's good. So right now I'm wearing my PJ Coverup. It's really meant for, you know, bathing suits, but I thought that would be a little extreme to go put on a bathing suit just to show off my new Coverup. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. And while I was finishing it up and doing the final touches and weaving in so many ends, it felt like, I also finished up Starving Saints, and I think I actually did like this. I'm not 100% sure. I am not sure if I would have enjoyed it as much in print. I think having the audiobook and just being able to listen and be doing something to keep myself busy, I was very entertained by this. I wasn't necessarily hooked into it. And there's some things that I really still have confusion or questions about. There's very much fever dreamy stuff going on in here, quite literally for our characters, but also for the reader, I believe. There's just some things that are still a little bit fuzzy in my brain. And I think it's kind of meant to be that way a little bit, but I liked the way the motivations of the characters kind of fluctuated over time, what their loyalties were, what their reasons were for doing things, not all of which were logical. Some things were out of their control for sure, but the general idea of what was going on in here and the way the women were working against each other or for each other or with each other throughout the book, I liked. I think in the end, this one's landing around a 3.5. I think I'm going to round it to 4, but it's kind of like a middle of the road 3.5, so I'm not 100% positive on that. But anyway, it's another book done for the challenge. It's done for Lexie's readathon, and it is something I've checked off my Libro FM to-do list. So on many levels, this worked out well for me. So since my first 3 books were all books already on my TBR for the month, I decided I'd go ahead and pick one more that wasn't on my TBR for the month. And obviously it's still going to be from Libro FM. It's still going to be a gifted audiobook, but I decided to go with a recent one that they just gave us in the last month. I think this was one they included with the August books. It might have been a July book. I am not positive. Actually, it probably was July. Sorry. But where I'm going with this is I've decided to pick up Writers and Liars by Carol Goodman. This is an author I've enjoyed before. She's a thriller author, someone who had been recommended to me several times before I finally picked up one of her books, and I enjoyed it. So this is one that definitely calls to me. The synopsis sounds like it might be a me book because we've got a group of authors. They are invited to a Greek island. It's an isolated setting, and then the person who is hosting them is murdered and they're all suspect. So it kind of has those isolated island vibes, books about books vibes, both of which work for me some of the time. I say that as if my island vlog from before Zanzibar went overly well. It didn't, but that's okay. I think the one that I liked most out of that was Authors on an Island, so maybe that'll carry over to here. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and give this one a try. It's a relatively short book. It's only like 270 pages. I don't own the print copy, so it's a good one to read as a purely audiobook, and we'll go from there. I'll check in with you later. I think now I'm gonna listen as I make myself some lunch pretty soon. I think in like an hour or so. I have a watch along going on today, so I'll take a break for a couple hours and then get back to this one and hopefully be able to finish it up before Lexie's 24-hour readathon ends. Certainly before the weekend ends, I will have finished this final book. So I'll check in with you once I get going on this one. We have a Kylie. I came over here to film an update and she came to join me. So I figured since I don't have a book to hold for this one, you could see me hold a puppy. Because, I mean, let's face it, she's cuter than any book anyway. But I have made it to 51% in Writers and Liars. And so far, It's enjoyable enough. It's fine. It's not blowing me away, but that's okay. It's, I think, going to be a decent win at least. In this story, we're following this group of authors. They have been invited to this island, and it's meant to be a retreat for authors, kind of. It starts off with the host presenting them with a challenge to write the start of a new mystery, but featuring the people of the island. So the fellow guests, the staff, kill one of them off, make somebody a suspect, make a couple people a suspect, and it's an interesting way to kind of kick things off. It turns out, and we know this from pretty much early on, I'm not spoiling anything, that these people have been to this island before, because we have our main character who had a best friend from her previous time on this island and a boyfriend from her previous time on the island, and things went on between them. Things did not go smoothly, so they are no longer friends. They are no longer in relationships. The host used to be one of our main character's best friends. No, father's best friends. That was confusing in my head. And then the father went through some things where he was accused of misdeeds with antiquities, because there is definitely a mythology, antiquities type of a subplot going on in here. Our main character works in her father's museum, and the ex-boyfriend also big fan of antiquities and mythology and Latin and the like, and they kind of used to have their nerdy moments together with their knowledge of Latin and antiquities and the like. And anyway, we get to this thing. The host has given them this challenge in writing because he is not present. And then they find someone dead and they're isolated on this island. The host is the only one who can send a boat for them. But given that he's no longer among the living, it would seem unlikely that he's going to send a boat. And they are exploring the island. They are exploring their past. The host has files on all of them and their original applications to be on the island. He's pressured them in the present day to come to the island again. So obviously there was some sort of purpose. She's like melting into my arms, but I'm afraid she's going to fall or break herself. So we've got a little bit of a feeling of dark academia going on in here with the antiquities, with the Latin, with the that, and we've got a bookish book, all of which are good things for me. So I am intrigued to see what direction this is going to wind up heading. We have kind of an interesting cast of characters. We've got authors and one person who's a critic who has badly reviewed most of their books in the past. So there's definitely some animosities to work out here. So anyway, I am going to take a dinner break, go make myself some more tacos. Ooh. Kylee apparently is going to go back to bed. Yeah, you going to take another nap? That last nap was very tiring. And anyway, I will check back in with you as soon as I finish the book. It is now Monday morning, which means the weekend is officially, sadly over. But I did finish up my last book last night. By the time I finished it, was ready to crawl in bed. So you're getting a Monday morning update. I wound up enjoying this book more than I thought I would at the very beginning. I think the author did a really good job of mixing in the kind of classical ideas, the ideas of antiquities, and the things that belong to Greece that potentially were having something happen to them. The murder mystery, the mystery of who isn't on the island, who is on the island, and the backstory of our main character and her family and the host who owned the island and what he was up to with them and this writing retreat back then and now. And I think all the threads kind of really wove together quite well. I don't know that the characters were quite as fleshed out as I might have liked them to be, but I think the plot made up for that for my personal taste, and the writing was good. So overall, my enjoyment of this left me at a 4-star, and I'm glad that this weekend challenge pushed me to pick this one up because I didn't have it planned for any particular use this month, so I was glad to read that. This one just came out July 15th, and it was a gifted copy from Harper Audio because I'm not sure that I mentioned that at the beginning. But with that, let me know in the comments below, have you read any of these? Do you have any ideas for weekend challenges? Things to kind of spice up a weekend challenge vlog? Let me know all your thoughts down below. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment but want to let me know you are here, give me a B emoji for Starving Saints. If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it, and subscribe if you're interested in more of my weekend challenges, more of my book reviews, and more of my bookish content in general. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.